Gibson in their original collection has two Les Paul Standard 50s models in gold top, the Humbucker and the P-90 version. We are going to compare them. Either way, it's the gold standard of Les Pauls, and you want to check it out, so stay tuned. Hey, you're watching Alamo Music TV. My name is Chris McKee.
I'm Cooper Greenberg.
We're here with Alamo Music Center in San Antonio, Texas. You can find us online at alamomusic.com. You can also find us on social media, Facebook and
Instagram.
So Instagram. Find us actually in two places on the gram for Alamo Music Center and Alamo Guitar Co., where you actually did some stuff on these already, right?
Yeah, I've been obsessing over this one since we've gotten it in. You know, it's just a new favorite of mine in the store. Gibson's giving us a lot of good stuff. So.
We're going to get to the nitty gritty of it, but we were talking about it earlier. You know, it's one of those times where stuff starts coming in and you want all of it. That's kind of where we are right now. So some fantastic guitars, but just keep that in mind. There's some different content that we provide in addition to what we have on YouTube through those other channels. So you want to make sure that you follow along and see what's going on there. Now, if you're new to our channel, make sure that you subscribe, turn on notifications, like the videos, and comment below because we want to hear from you. So, like we said at the very introduction, it is the gold standard of Les Pauls, literally the gold top, the famous Les Paul gold top. And as we've discussed in previous videos, Gibson has done really a complete turnaround with the quality of their guitars and what they're doing with the line of guitars. They really streamlined it from the standpoint of what you are interested in and changed up or really divided the guitar line into two, between the modern and the original collection. So these are part of the original collection, and they are both Les Paul Standard 50s models. But in this color, this bullion gold top color, you get the choice between humbuckers and P-90s. And, you know, we were talking about this as we came in, and I just keep reiterating it. I love the Les Paul. I love my Les Paul. It's such a fantastic guitar, and it is extremely versatile in the control layout, what you were able to do with it. We've talked about this in some of our other videos, and we've even reviewed this guitar right here, and I'll put a link to that right there so you can check out that earlier review that we've done. But you can get even more versatile in the fact that you have the option of P-90s. And I'm going to say right here, I think P-90s are underappreciated. You hear that, internet? You don't appreciate that pickup enough. And we're going to tell you why. In fact, it's representing the fact that only this color has the option. So I would like to see Gibson offer that, maybe in the burst colors. I do kind of get it, though. Yeah. So let's talk about some of the history and explain why this isn't the gold top. P-90s are what were originally on Gibson electric guitars. It's what the Les Paul debuted with. And if you're not familiar with the P-90, we'll get into this a little bit more. It's effectively a single coil. Later, they introduced the humbucker to buck the 60 cycle hum that single coils inherently are susceptible to. But there's a change in the tonality that occurs when that happens as well. Just like there's a difference between a Fender single coil and a Gibson humbucker, there's a difference between these P-90s and these humbuckers from a tonal standpoint. And I think that tonality that they have is really fantastic. But historically, early Les Pauls were P-90s, and they were introduced with these gold top options to really scream luxury, you know, high-end carved top instruments to separate themselves from the flat kind of cut on a bandsaw Telecaster that it was competing with. And these P-90s from the get-go have found their way into the early recordings of the most famous rock and blues artists that you can think of. And so I love them for their history. This is why they're on the gold top specifically and not the bursts that came later when humbuckers were already the standard feature on the standards. But let's talk about the tonality that you're going to get, because that's really the thing here, right? Both of these guitars are identical otherwise.
Yeah.
Les Paul Standard 50s, no weight relief, carved maple top. You can get it with this gold top finish or the burst finishes. You've got the standard hardware configuration on both of these. You've got audio taper, potentiometers, orange drop capacitors, tuners. It's all the same, except for this. So most of us are familiar with humbuckers. Cooper, what's the difference with P-90s?
Well, I mean, they're single coils, but I kind of, we were talking before how these almost sound like right in between what you would consider maybe like a Fender Strat single coil and a Gibson humbucker. They're extremely warm, which I love. There's still a lot of snap in there, but check out like the Instagram post. We were playing some jazz on it before, and it just handles clean stuff so beautifully.
Yeah.
But really, just handling drive, you know, getting a little bit of crunch on there. The sustain is incredible from this guitar, and coming through the P-90s, it's something really special that you can't really dial in on, say, a Fender single coil or a humbucker. It's just something all to its own, kind of rounded, warmth in there and everything. But yeah, it's a special tone that, you know.
Yeah, they really are their own unique sound. And yeah, to your point, if you think of pickups kind of on a spectrum, you have the bell-like chime, brightness, and articulation of a single coil. And on the humbucker side, you have more warmth, more mid-range that comes out of that. And in the middle, you have these P-90 pickups. They have a bit of a scooped mid-range compared to a humbucker. They don't have all of the snap and chime that a like Fender single coil would have. They have more output. And I think the design of it dictates the tone that you get, and the response of it explains why it's found kind of fans within certain genres of music.
Yeah.
So if you look at it, if you're not familiar with it, they're also called soap bar pickups or cobalts. On old archtops, sometimes they were dog-eared covers, so you'd have the silver covers with dog ear, you know, kind of coming off the side. But P-90 pickups are just like they are a single coil pickup. There's not a second coil that's canceling out hum. That's what makes them single coil. But unlike a Fender single coil, which has a narrow, tall bobbin, this is a short, wide bobbin. And so you've got those pole pieces, those screws that you have coming through right in the middle, and then you have this really, really wide magnet. And what that does is it changes the entire magnetic field that's picking up the vibrations of the strings. So on a single coil, you're picking up this narrow band. On a humbucker, you've got two coils picking up a wider band. Here you've got a flat, kind of short, squatty coil picking up a wide band of that string. As a result, you get more warmth. But because there's only one bobbin, you have some of the scooped mid-range. It's not as fat sounding as a humbucker. But you also get more output. And so a lot of times these are described as dirty sounding. You ever hear that?
Yeah.
You read a magazine like, what P-90s are about? And they say, well, they're dirty sounding. Yeah. And as a result, they really have a following in punk and like indie rock bands.
Yeah.
Well, they're not as high output as a humbucker.
Yeah.
Why do they say that? Here's why they say that. Because they are more output typically than a normal single coil. Yeah. They do ride in the middle, even from an output standpoint. So if you have more output, you put it in your amp and it's set up for your Strat, it's pushing it more, you have more grit, there you go. So it is kind of your Goldilocks pickup in a lot of ways.
Yes.
Now the downside, there is a downside. You still have 60 cycle hum. That is the one thing. There's no middle pickup. There's no reverse wound. You can't get away from it like you can on certain Strats. But I don't find it to be really that bad. And when you're playing, it's transparent and there's solutions out there for it. So don't deprive yourself of the beauty of the P-90 just because there's some hum.
Yeah.
It's an electric guitar for crying out loud.
Yeah.
You know, it's supposed to make noise.
I'd also say if you've never gotten to check out P-90, if you think you know what they sound like because you've played a Jazzmaster, that's not a P-90. Those are Jazzmaster pickups, so this will be a great way to hear them for what they truly are in a classic.
Yeah, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to compare them. We're going to play the humbucker. We're going to play the P-90. Cooper's going to play the same stuff. You can hear the difference, so turn on your ears and check it out. So there you go. You know what? I want to finish the video with that one. Okay. Yes, because I really want I want this guitar. No, seriously, gold tops are awesome. They have I think they just look great even all of these years later. This guitar, designed in the early 50s, still here in 2020 finds a home, hits all of the right spots. You know, there's one thing to be said where in some things like in Fender and in Gibson, guitar design has maybe not progressed. Whereas, you know, like you look at automobile design, maybe that's because they got a lot of it right from the get-go. You know, we could just say that. So I love this. I love the sound of those P-90s, and hopefully you could hear the difference.
Yeah.
I mean, you were playing the same things, but you can hear those tonal differences, you know, and, you know, Les Paul through a Fender amp, that is a winning combination as well. So we want to hear from you. feel free to comment below. Tell us your thoughts on P-90s. Are they underappreciated? Do you appreciate them more now that you've heard this? Do you think you could find a place in your collection and in your music for the sound that this pickup makes? Because honestly, what I would like to see these on more guitars. It's not just Gibson. I've seen PRS do like McCarty 594 with P-90s in a limited run. Why in a limited run? Let's make that like standard model option. Let's have this in some of the bursts and some of the other guitars, because it really does sound amazing. So let us know in the comments below, I'll do you better. We're also going to put a poll, so it's going to click on that right there and give us your opinion. This is your opportunity to be heard. If you are new to our channel, this is what we do. We talk guitars, we play guitars, we compare guitars. We want to help you find the right guitar, whether it's P-90, humbucker, single coil, what have you. So subscribe, turn on notifications, like the videos, and keep coming back for more. We'll keep doing it for you, because at the end of the day, the best guitar
It's the one you're playing right now.
the one that you make music with. So keep coming back. We'll see you next time.